Hello, everybody, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Brian. I'm here with Allison, and this is Maintaining Frame number 176. Sweeney is the face of fascism, turnabout on the T app, and other crap.
Mm,
Like a little bit of a rhyme.
yes,
Uh,
indeed.
yeah, a limerick. No, not really a limerick, but not a haiku either. Anyway, just a rhyme. Very basic. So, yeah, I guess we're going to be these are these all like okay. I'm not actually sure exactly what we're doing. You
Okay.
sent me a whole bunch of stuff and but I don't think we can do it all cuz I got to leave at 3.
Okay.
Um
No. We'll
but
just as best we can. We will put 1 hour to each, 1/2 hour to each. If
okay.
you did get the time codes, right?
Well, it has time codes in them already. So
All right.
no.
So we'll just go through the interesting ones.
All right.
Yeah.
So these are all from Bryony Claire. She sent like 5 Bryony Claire
Oh
videos.
no, Richard. Bryony Claire doesn't send her videos to us.
No, I mean we got 5 videos
Yeah,
for
Richard
Bryony Claire
Bier
from Richard
sent
Bier, of course,
sent
yes.
this cancel.
Yes,
Well,
because he
you
has
know
a
what?
fetish.
Honestly,
He has a
no.
fetish for
Wait,
making
wait,
us
wait, wait.
respond to really ridiculous shit in gigantic quantities.
I did
It's
ask
like a
because
mukbang of bullshit content, basically.
yeah, we have to consume all this bullshit. But then again, we're always consuming bullshit. And to be fair, Byron Claire is less anger inducing than the fic bitches turning the romance community, because this is a problem with the entire romance community, sort of extremely sexually aggressive, grapey ways into women's victimhood. Like we watched
Yeah.
them step a situation where a fantasy or a romance convention, dark romance is romance, and this is a problem with the entire romance community. They turned a situation where a romance convention had multiple sexual assaults on men and one gang grope of a man into women most affected. And I have to say that after that, Byron Claire almost doesn't rate. She's a blip.
Yeah.
She's just bog standard misandry. That is high powered misandry. That is high powered chaos of some kind. And responding to that has given me a new baseline for terrible watching women engage in absolutely terrible acts, disrespectful, irresponsible, terrible, and utterly callous acts of dismissal. That was just like those acrobatics were astounding. Those I don't think Byron Claire could ever top them. So congratulations, fic bitches. You found a new low and kept digging. All right. But yeah, let's the first one that we're responding to, and if you're interested in into sending us a comment or a tip with a comment, you just send us a tip. You can just send us a tip without a comment if that is a little bit too much pressure at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. That's feedthebadger.com/justthetip. We get the full benefit of whatever funds you send, and you get the benefit of a bit more space to elaborate your thoughts if you want to do so, and a little bit of not going through YouTube's comment enhancement system, so to speak. We're also doing our fundraiser because we successfully finished our monthly fundraiser early. We're doing our fundraiser to help support our event coming up, and we do need to get that done because I want to be, we want to be able to bring Brian, we want to be able to have our venue, etc. So feedthebadger.com/events, or at least we want to be able to take those costs off my credit card. Feedthebadger.com/events, because sometimes the money doesn't come in when we need it, so it goes on my credit. So feedthebadger.com/events to save Allison's credit. And the event itself is September 13th, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It's a venue close to the airport, so it'll be easy to get to if you're flying in, and fairly easy to get to if you're coming in from the north. Actually, it's fairly easy anyway because the big tributaries all sort of pump out into the airport area. So it's so September 13th, put that on your calendars. I know there's not a lot of time left, but I have to get the final guest list in September 9th. So please RSVP Badger at feedthebadger.com. All the stuff should be in the low bar with how to do everything. And yeah, so thank you to Richard. I actually asked because I've been I don't know. There a dearth of topics that I really could find a cover. So I was like, "Hey, Richard, do you have anything?" He's like, "Okay," and he put these
Just
through.
threw a bunch of Byron Claire
Yeah,
at you. Yeah.
yeah, he just threw a bunch of. He just delved into the depths of Byron Claire. Plus, a bonus round is this Muslim woman who just
Yeah.
decided that justice doesn't apply to her, which we'll take a look at. I don't know how long that is. Maybe we'll just do as much as we can stand.
It's about 17 minutes. Well, there's
Okay.
the response video that you were sent, which is like
Mhm.
20 minutes, and then there's the original video, which is 17 minutes.
We'll do the
So I
original
just
because I'm
pulled up
sure
the original video.
the response
What?
is probably just this is terrible. Wow,
Yeah, exactly.
like that no insight because this is what
Yeah,
you guys come here for is insight, and we're going to
yeah.
deliver that. We're going to gobble down bullshit and give you insight because we are a machine that inputs clown noises and outputs reason. All right, let's get
Mm-hmm.
into it.
Okay. So this is Sydney Sweeney is the symbol and part of the problem. So we'll take a look at some of this.
Jeans are best when they're the right kind of white. My jeans are blue. As American as apple pie. Hot girls eat Arby's. My
What?
Oh God, Barney, like, do you look in a mirror?
No, she is though she's one of the good women, the white women with blue eyes, because she hates herself, well, her race. She doesn't have a problem with her sex. She hates
No.
herself for being white, and she thinks that that should be inferior. But also, Sydney Sweeney and women who appeal to men, they're bad because they appeal to men, and that's basically like what they shouldn't be doing. So, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she's gonna make a much better argument than what I predict to be the typical argument.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's keep going.
My jeans are blue too. King of summer, it's genetics. My jeans are blue too. All our genes are recessive to go along with your regressive values. And yes, I do realize the irony of like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed person coming out with
she
this
does address
messaging
it.
in this entire video. But
Oh,
I
but you're one of
also
the good
think
ones.
it's kind of important that someone like me actually talks about this. I'm going to catch you up in case you are employed and, haven't.
So apparently, she's the best qualified person to speak on this because she is also
Ooh.
white and blonde haired and blue eyed.
To speak
So,
against people finding white, blonde, and blue-eyed women the most attractive. Well, you gotta talk to more than just white men here. No offense.
yeah,
Because there's a lot of men who seem to find that attractive who aren't white. Just saying. So maybe it's a diverse beauty ideal if you think about it, because it's multiple ethnicities and races find this to be attractive. So it could be diversity, like it could be encapsulating diversity.
yeah.
I'm just.
My wife's
I'm just,
a brunette. I don't mind brunettes either, or redheads for that matter. Maybe I'm just not picky enough, but apparently I think. Well, anyway, let's see what Bryony has to say.
I've been following along with what's been happening. Sydney Sweeney is not the whole problem here, despite what some misogyny slop out there is going to tell you. She has been pedestaled as a symbol of what America should be, and as it turns out, is also sadly part of the problem.
Wait. Okay, let me just do a red pill temperature check here. I don't think the misogyny slop is coming from the bros here. Where is the misogyny slop coming from? What sector of your intersectional squabbling hierarchy is throwing the misogyny slop now? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
And of course, she most likely blames men, and yet it is probably a sector on the intersectional ziggurat of status and dominance that is throwing the shade. I'm just saying.
She probably can't say men because then she'd have to back it up. And the only thing she might be able to find would be some men saying that Sydney Sweeney is just mid, which is not actually an insult and it's not hate at all. It's just saying she's a little overrated, which I think every person is entitled to have an opinion on.
Yeah.
But by her not saying or giving examples or receipts of men saying anything, she can just say there's misogyny and then like just leave that and then let people come to their own conclusions.
Yeah.
And then the assumption is they'll all conclude men, even though that's again highly unlikely. So
exactly. Now, I just wanted to again, feedthebadger.com/justthetip if you want to send messages, whatever, respond to what we're saying. I just wanted to say I think it's good to just do a small segment and then respond to it, because that works out better for the shorts. I know it's just a little bit. So if we could keep it to like, I don't think we're going to get dinged by the YouTube comment enhancement system. I will try to only keep my interruptions to when she has completed a thought. But the problem is that for a lot of these feminist commentators, a thought is like a fire hose burst of shit. And then it's like you can't let any particle of that stand, because they're starting to weave a narrative out of it. But anyway, I'll try. And I've also been told to stop interrupting you, Brian. So I'm going to also attempt that as well.
Oh, it's fine.
These are my goals for this. Respond succinctly, no squirreling. Do not interrupt, Brian.
All right. I'm going to play some more.
Yep.
Republican. I didn't think I'd need to be making a video on this, because Legion Miller did this amazing video right here, which I will have linked for you down below in case you somehow missed it. But even more terrible stuff has happened, and we really need to get talking about it. And plus my patrons were the ones that voted for this.
All right, let me just pause there for a second. So,
oh, good Lord. She's responding to this because of her patrons, and then we're responding to this because of a patron. This is like patronception here.
I just want to say that, like, when the Sydney Sweeney ad came out, there were a bunch of, like, septum piercing women on TikTok making really emotionally driven responses saying, oh my God, this is Nazi propaganda. And that was basically, it was a TikTok video, very short. It was just them putting their thoughts out there. Obviously, a ridiculous claim. Like, literally, the American Eagle company is owned by Jews. It's absolutely ridiculous. But, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a play on words, jeans. That's the whole thing is a pun. But because it's a white woman, that's their reaction. Okay. And because it's an attractive white woman, because I do think Sydney Sweeney is attractive, that doesn't have a problem with men looking at her, which is another thing, that's an issue they take, because again, the issue is that Sydney Sweeney is siding with the wrong crowd. She is essentially okay with men looking at her. She is not offended by it. She's not necessarily championing the Me Too train. She's okay with it. And, in a way, it lets her dunk on like these women online, because she is like Sydney Sweeney and not like Zendaya or whoever they would lift up, right? But so that is over. Like, those short videos on TikTok of women just like yelling Nazi propaganda into their phones. Now we're getting like the long form thought pieces by academic feminists, like the woman that she mentioned and herself. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more. And they're going to be supposedly doing their due diligence to explain to you exactly why those women that were shrieking Nazi propaganda a few months ago are right. And so, like, that's the phase we're in now. We're in the academic. Let's, make this into an academic pursuit. Let's do studies. Let's do thought pieces. Get the professors, the tenured female professors on board. And that's where we're at. So I'm just letting you know, this is where we're headed. Okay.
Also, this isn't really about intersectionality. It's about intersectional competition between women. Because,
they're the women who just had their reaction. OMG, this is Nazi fascist propaganda. And then you have these people who are like, I'm going to like write an essay and I'm going to do some diving and some research and I'm going to cite, but I'm going to make the same argument. I'm just going to take longer to do it.
It's the same faulty argument, but
it's the same completely ridiculous argument. I'm just going to take make it a half hour long instead of like 30 seconds.
The
So
ultimate motive of this is intersectional competition, both on a physical level, because what do the female dating strategies women call incels dysgenic freaks? Well,
dysgenic, yeah.
dysgenic females are trying to compete with Sydney Sweeney, but not just on a physical level, but also a moral level. Right. So they're trying to make it so that they are the ones who are moral. Now, what's interesting about a woman professing to be moral is it's sort of a shorthand to I support the social system, the society. I support those virtues that are required to maintain a society that works. So sometimes it's not justice and equity. Sometimes it's authoritarianism, but it's basically that. It's why George Orwell made the observation that women, in particular young women, were the most vociferous in supporting the party. It's because that they're virtue signaling that they are responsible for supporting the system. Of course, the system that Byron E. Claire and her sisters are supporting isn't really functional.
No.
But it does consider itself moral. So there you go. So they're trying to say to men, if you express interest towards me, you are supporting the system. And so it's not just female intersectional sexual competition. It's also moral competition, because that's critical too. It's why a lot of these women constantly project victimhood, because they want to be the moral center. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is too, this is also another way of attacking men, because remember earlier she showed all these examples, and it was like attractive women that were suggestively, I guess displaying the product, whether it was like, food from a restaurant or whatever. I think there was like a picture. I don't know if it's real or AI or what, but there's a picture of Sydney Sweeney out there wearing like a t-shirt that says Cracker Barrel on it, that's like the old logo. I think it's the old logo. And and because she doesn't have a problem showing off her cleavage, this is like something that I think she takes an issue with, because ultimately men enjoy it. And it's not white men per se, it's just men. Like men in general like boobs. I don't know if you guys know this. So if they're nice, and I think that that's what ultimately this is. The problem with this is that it is sort of like a celebration of beauty, and these people don't like beauty. They want us to be, surrounded by ugliness and blandness and, everything gray and just like, demoralizing. That's what they want. And so when something like this comes out and it's generally got a positive effect on people, especially men, they have a problem with that. So, and that's what I think.
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
possible as well. Everything needs to be demotivated and purposelessness.
Yeah,
Which is
purposeless, nihilistic, the purpose of which is to demoralize the viewer. And I mean, even though Byron E. Claire apparently likes Alphonse Mucha, which is like there's a thing in the background there of Kiki's Delivery Service. And
which is
Alphonse
beauty.
Mucha, if you guys don't know, yeah, he was an Art Nouveau guy, beautiful work, but it was always like women, almost like kind of a neoclassical look. It was called Art Nouveau though. But very beautiful stuff. And now, but like men can't enjoy that. Only she can. So.
All right, let's keep going.
All right. Anyway.
In the comments down below, and they've already got the uncensored and extended version of this video. As I really love
good lord
things, we're going to be baking an American classic, the apple pie, and it's in the oven right now. Let's see if this goes better than my lemon meringue pie.
What system does Byron E. Claire support? Like what system does intersectionality support? You know the system that it supports? It supports government and corporate theft of the citizens' labor. That's the system that it supports. I'm just going to go right out there. She is supporting the system of government and corporate theft of labor. And by corporate, I mean, the government deciding there are corporations that are too big to lose, buying their debt in order to keep them afloat and all of that stuff. It's a system. She is supporting the system of government and corporate theft of individual labor. And the reason why I point this out is that now I might run afoul of the libertarians, but when labor was unionizing back in like the early 20th century, it was broken up physically by strike breakers, but it was broken up morally by feminism, because feminism encouraged the average man to feel like he was complicit in the system. So he was responsible for the system rather than a victim of it, or potentially outside of the system and agitating for better conditions in it. So because of feminism, the average man lost the moral capability to actually conceive of themselves as outside the system of corporate and government control. You see, and they did that by inoculating a sense that the system benefits all men. How do you get the people that the system, or the men that the system relies on, to continue to feel like they have to, you say that they are privileged by this system? How do you neutralize their objection to this system? How do you cut out that ability to develop a moral objection to the system of government and corporate control? You tell them that the system privileges them.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's gone. Like that ability to start to see yourself separate from the system, to start to see it as a system that is not to your benefit. And at this point, it really isn't. Like there is no real capitalism. There is no real property rights when the government can print money like this. So it maintains itself by telling men that you are privileged in this system. You are not a victim of the system. And that means that any failures that you experience in your life are personal failings, because you are privileged by the system. So anything you experience is not something that you can unite around to prevent. It is a personal failing. And this sort of clicked in my mind when I was watching a documentary on the Depression, and after I had read some Steinbeck. It was a quote from The Grapes of Wrath, in which a woman was telling a man that she was in charge now because he was unemployed, and he doesn't get to have a say because he doesn't work. And going back to the Depression, the documentary, someone mentioned that the reason why they weren't organizing, like labor wasn't organizing against all of this government and corporate collusion that was causing these problems, was because each man thought that his poverty was an individual failure. So if you want to keep men from organizing against your exploitative system, you use something that tells them that they're privileged by the system. Therefore, any failure that they experience is a personal failing. Enter feminism.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent, Byron E. Claire. Excellent work. You are doing what you would term patriarchy's work for patriarchy. All right.
Yeah. Well, these people are not known for their consistency, or principles.
Well, she probably doesn't even realize that. She probably doesn't even realize that she's completely captured. Nor do her viewers realize she's completely captured. Like, there's no such thing as female liberation. Certainly not what they're doing. They're still mouthpieces for the system. They are still policing each other in order to become mouthpieces for the system. That's all they are. Like, Byron E. Claire is just a propaganda outlet supporting what she would term patriarchy.
Yep.
It's actually pretty hilarious if you think about it, and sad. And she will never escape it because she doesn't have the least ability to exist outside of the identity that she's been handed by the men who want her to control men, other men. Anyway, let's keep going. I know that was a real deep dive, so I'll let you guys chew over that one.
American Eagle is the company that came up with...
What the heck is... Wait. Can we go back to that image that she put up?
Pie.
The War on Hot Women. This is a Fox News opinion piece. The War on Hot Women, Why the Woke Mob Hates Sydney Sweeney.
She's definitely different than what we had.
Look, I think she's pretty.
Yeah,
I think pretty enough that feminists would hate her. Yes.
Yeah,
Like, pretty enough.
that's
You
a
don't
pretty
have to
low
be that
bar.
pretty. You just have to be. It ultimately what it means is you don't really have to be that pretty. You just have to be like okay with men.
I'm not throwing
Like,
shade.
you
I'm
know.
just saying that this is I mean, compare to the women that used to be supermodels in like the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, she's
Well,
very pretty. But she's like
our standards are but like the
she's like
average
normal pretty.
celebrity woman
And I don't
is
mean to
not
throw
as
shade.
attractive as they used to be. Like there are
I'm
no
not
Jennifer
throwing shade at
Connellys
all.
or Angelina Jolies
Yeah,
or
exactly. Like it's like
yeah,
I mean those women were just look stunning and not just
Demi
in like a
Moore.
not just in like a physical way, not just in like a physical lust kind of way, but also just in terms of aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, this I mean, and she's very like adorable, but I don't know. It just seems like it's a different world. I'll just say that.
Mm. Well, again, it's a different world, but like even if we accept that Sydney Sweeney is like not quite as banging hot as like other women of previous eras, it only goes to show how ugly we have gotten to the
Yeah.
point where someone like this that gets a little bit of like is celebrated a little bit, people lose their minds and there's like all this propaganda flying around to
God.
counter her, right?
Could you imagine Byron E. Claire in the 90s with a supermodel?
Yeah, she would have been like she would have disappeared. It would have been like there's too many, like like I mentioned, like we had Jennifer Connelly, we had Angelina Jolie, we had Sofia Vergara at her prime, we had Salma Hayek, we had just I mean Penelope Cruz, what was her name from the Zorro movie, Catherine Zeta-Jones, like just absolutely stunning women, just stunning. The chick from The Mummy was beautiful. I can't remember her name now, Rachel something.
And they had personality too.
Well, yeah, they had to like, we but like everybody was good looking, like the men were too. But like these days, I mean, like it's become so political that you can't have people in the business that are too attractive, or they have to be a certain kind of people. Like now, the only man in Hollywood seems to be Pedro Pascal, and the only reason why it's not because he's hot, because he's not. Like, I mean, he's hardly masculine. It's because he's approved. He's basically got the right opinions and he's doing the right things, and so he gets all the roles. And I think with a lot of the women, it's the same, like Zendaya or what's her name from The Last of Us. I can't remember the name of it. Bella Ramsey or whatever.
Oh God damn!
Yeah, but like but it's not it there. This is like where it's going, and I think that it's a uglification of everything in our culture. Like, I mean, if you look further back in like to the old, so like the old movies, everybody was attractive, and nobody had a problem with it. We wanted to see attractive people on screen.
Exactly.
Like Audrey Hepburn was gorgeous. She was like a button. And a lot of the other, Victoria, I think her name was Vanessa Lake.
She also
Victoria
represented
Lake.
a big change in the kind of beauty standard, but always like there was this emphasis on glamour and and personality too. Like the further you go back, the more personality these actresses had. Like that. What I mean by
Alicia Cuthbert. That was the hottest fucking Canadian ever. She was on 24. And The Girl Next Door was a movie. I never saw it, but I know she was in it. But anyway.
Yeah, but they all had they had presence and personality, and they could sort of command a room. And you want it. Like what I've noticed is in the current media, almost every character except white men are boring. They're just awful because they don't do, even the white male villains are actually even more sympathetic and interesting.
Write them. They put more work into writing them because they're trying to like put out this narrative about them being evil, but they end up becoming interesting because they don't play it too safe with them.
No, they don't. They don't have to play it safe. And they can
Mhm.
make commentaries on things, and they can have them go through trials and difficulties, and there's more stakes to their moral decision making. And then this is the other thing that I sort of put forward with the writers group. When they do male characters, the white male characters in particular, but if there are no white male characters, then it defaults to the nearest male. If there are no straight white male characters, cis white male characters, then it defaults to the gay male character. And if there are no gay male characters, it defaults to the trans men. And if there are no white male characters, it defaults to the black men to be the one that drives things forward. I don't know if you've noticed that, but
Well, I don't
reason
watch
why,
new media anymore, so
yeah, it's intersectionality thing.
yeah, I
It's
know,
like
I know. I started watching Zardoz, which is
yeah, it's
something.
actually a lot of fun, Zardoz, I find anyway.
Zardoz with Sean Connery. If you've ever seen
the
it,
penis is bad. The gun.
that was definitely
ugh.
a product of its time. I think everyone on the set was on drugs.
But you have
when
to,
that movie was made.
you have to look at Zardoz from like a kind of spiritual, symbolic.
Penis is evil. The gun is
almost
good.
like a male and female alchemy symbolic kind of thing that they were doing there. I find I go to bat for Zardoz. I go to bat for
Well,
them.
I'm gonna finish it.
Although I question putting Sean Connery in in
He's got enough body hair that it's like another outfit.
yeah,
It's like
but red thigh-high boots and
like
the
bandoleros.
the bandoleros and the short shorts.
Yep. No, it's a straight up like banana hammock, like tied on. Yeah.
It's not
Anyway.
There's nothing to the imagination. But
not a lot.
Okay, no. So but going back to my point, because Zardoz is not my point. But when they have male characters, they have to justify that male character's existence. So he has to be doing something. He has to create stakes. He has to advance the plot. He has to have some interesting character arc or quirk or something about him to be there. The token characters, you don't have to actually think, oh, well, why does this token character here? Because you know why they're there. They're a token. So the male characters, the writers have to say, okay, I have to have a reason for this character to be here. All right. And then they end up being important to the plot. They end up having interesting character development. And I saw that with Ironheart. The most interesting character was the son of Jebediah Stane or Obadiah Stane.
Right.
Yeah. He was the most
interesting
character.
I never watched it, but that's what I knew that was going to be the case.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's like they can't help themselves. I think that's one of the things. Yeah, they know why the tokens are there because they're tokens. But the white male character, he has to be there for a reason. And those reasons make him more interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay, but yeah, we went on a big tangent. Going back to this, I have no idea where I started now. Sorry, guys. The squirrel has
Sydney Sweeney's looks, and I was just trying to say that, like, basically our standards have declined because we have excluded everything beautiful to the point where if someone is, I'm not saying she's not attractive, but I'm saying that she has become the peak now. It's like her and Ana de Armas.
It's a little lower. But the other thing is that they weren't just beautiful in terms of their looks, but they had a very a big presence. And as you go further back watching movies, the female actresses have bigger and bigger presences. Like you were talking about the woman in The Mummy. She isn't just pretty. She's got a lot of character and she really commands the scenes. Going further back, you see that more and more. So the female characters could stand toe to toe with the male characters. And now you don't see that anymore. Everybody is bland and boring except for the male characters because they have to be better and have more going on to even qualify for being there. So that's what I wanted to say. And I think that's an element of this loss of beauty. It's not just physical. It's also this kind of, I don't know if it's a beautiful quality, but this kind of entertaining quality. I think entertainment could be considered beautiful too. But it's just these women were entertaining and they knew how to command attention and how to keep it. you know, and they walk into a room and you would be hanging on every word. You want to find out what the next thing that they have to say.
Yeah, Rachel Wise, that was her name. Okay. Anyway, let's move on.
American Eagle is the company that came up with the now infamous ad featuring Sydney Sweeney. It nearly repeated word for word a Calvin Klein advert, which was incredibly controversial at the time because it not only featured a 15-year-old Brooke Shields, but also incredibly badly sexualized her. And if you have missed this amazing documentary, Pretty Baby, which goes into Brooke Shields' life, I highly recommend you watch it. The script is about...
Richard has basically said that this is not a documentary. It's
just a movie that she was in.
It's just a movie.
Kind of like how Adolescence is just a show and not a documentary.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Yeah. It's almost like,
good Lord.
I mean, she may not, because she looks like she wasn't alive when that movie came out.
You know why? Okay.
Yeah, I do know why, but I mean, like, if I were to be really, if I was to be really generous, I would say she's stupid and ignorant of what happened, but I think that would be wrong. So I'm just going to presume that you know that that's not a documentary and you're lying to your audience. So it's one or the other. You're either dishonest or you're dumb. And I'm more inclined to believe that you're dishonest. So
somebody in a night motorcyclist said Evie couldn't take on several men at once. She barely took on one guy in The Mummy Returns. Yeah, that's 100% true. What her value in those scenes was that she had, in some ways, better situational awareness than the male character. Like, she was always needing to defer to the male characters for anything related to fighting and anything physical. So I mean, she could hold her own a bit, but she wasn't able to fight the way the male characters were. Brandon Sanders, Brandon something.
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan
Rick
Fraser.
O'Connell was the character's name.
Yeah, she couldn't hold her own with him in terms of a fight, but she staved his ass several times because she maintained a greater situational awareness. So that was her value in the team, is that she could keep basically the best fighter alive. And so, I mean, it was a very different dynamic. And I wasn't saying that she was like a boss babe who could take on multiple men. She had a different kind of role in the story, and she played it well with a lot of charisma. And this is something
they kind of did that in the second movie, though. Like, look, I'll say this: I like both movies, but Mummy Returns was definitely trying to like turn Evie into more of a badass. Because in the first movie, I don't like to use the word damsel, but she was more of she wasn't a combative character. She was an educated character. She was a librarian that got swept up in this because of her passion for, you know, like her passion for the topic, right? For ancient Egypt. And so she gets swept up in this adventure, and it's good because it does make her very appealing. It's a little weird that she takes her glasses off about halfway through the movie and never needs them again in the first movie, but it's one of those Hollywood things. I know Stephen Sommers likes the old Hollywood. That's why his movies has that sort of feel. But in the second movie, they made her like a descendant of like a warrior queen or something. And that I think that kind of like was a little bit cringe, because then like she was recalling how to fight with like, you know, weapons, and I don't know that. But yeah, again, it didn't she didn't overshadow anybody or anything like that. It was just a little bit cringe. But I will say this too: in the first movie, one thing I did like is that her curiosity and her interest in the topic is actually what starts the story. And she is the one that wakes up the mummy. So she is like the Egyptologist earlier. There's like the Egyptologist that's like sort of going with these Americans, and he's the guy who says they're being led by a woman. What does a woman know? And we're all supposed to find that to be like sexist and everything. I think it's hilarious, especially because later she is the one that fucks up and like wakes up the mummy. And he's like, "You must not read from the book." Like, he was the one who knew you're not supposed to do that. He dies, but like he was right. Based Egyptologist who dies, but still, like I think the movie is very fair. Like, everyone is presented, you know. I didn't really see too much of that. Although I think in the second movie they did make Evie a superhero for some reason. But like, yeah, that was again not a deal breaker. I still enjoyed it, but I just think it's interesting. You can always see like when there are sequels, it slides more and more towards like girl boss stuff. You know, even
Yeah,
if
like we don't know what the hell they're doing. Because it's
So-
harder to write. It's harder to write that kind of balance in the first movie.
yeah,
Where Brendan and Evie's characters are balanced and they actually are better together. They're not in competition, right? And it works better for maintaining the physical stakes if you don't have the waifu, which is ridiculous. But we should probably get back to the topic. Does she?
So,
I wonder if she even makes the point.
I got a super chow from Richard Bier. He gives us $5 and says, Allison Bryony would be right at home in the Russian Fantopia. Brian, at some point, she will refer to Pretty Baby featuring an 11-year-old Brooke Shields as a documentary. That's the movie where Brooke played a young girl born and raised in a brothel and was at one point abandoned by her mother. When she came of age, her virginity was auctioned off to the highest bidder. I'm not sure that it's based on any real life events outside of human trafficking. Yeah, and I mean, like, even if you found that exploitative, I don't think that's white people's fault. But anyway, thanks.
Yeah, it's not, or certainly it's not Western people's fault.
No, probably not.
Probably not. And that's why most sex trafficking doesn't involve white women. It involves Asian people, and actually pretty much Asian people at this point. And it's also perpetrated mostly by Asian people. Lots of women trafficking, by the way, and men also get trafficked.
Boys.
Boys get trafficked for sex, and men actually do get trafficked for sex and labor.
And labor, yeah. Well, they're more useful for those things.
Yeah, they're more useful for labor, but you're a good-looking guy. Yeah. You might be sex trafficked to the dark romantasy event. Maybe they'll get that hard up. They'll start buying men in like South Asia. Disgusting witches. Anyway, let's keep going.
All right, let's keep going.
Genes being passed down from parent to offspring, and kids inheriting attributes from their parents. She says, my genes are blue as she's looking at us with blue eyes and then smiling, showing her profile to the camera.
How old
Then
is
Dunkin' Donuts came up with this.
like 20s?
She's in her 20s, I think.
Yeah, okay, we'll get off that. What's your face? All right, let's Duncan. Again, this is all moralizing that's trying to justify intersectional competition on looks and morals. Yeah, that's how it is. And also she's basically beaking off. Like it's three things: intersectional competition based on looks, virtue, the performance of virtue, not actual virtue, and who is the best mouthpiece for what she would term the patriarchy. So those are the three criteria that she's competing on with Sydney Sweeney and other women. And so everything coming out of her mouth is like, it's just a bunch of gobbledygook. Like, no, this isn't a white supremacist ad. They're just saying that blue eyes are nice. And it's a play on the fact that they're blue jeans.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
This advert featuring Gavin from the Summer I Turned Pretty fame.
I didn't ask to be the king of summer. It just kind of happened. This tan? Genetics. I just got my
God,
color
your
analysis
hair.
back. Guess what? Golden summer.
It's very strange to be bringing in genetics when you're talking about a color analysis. This was very much like a word salad. I would not be surprised if AI wrote this ad. But
wow, she's spurging out on an ad for Dunkin' Donuts. Spurging out on it.
Going to town on this ad, but also, I guess broccoli hair is in.
Yeah, it is. That's Zoomer hair. Yeah. Broccoli hair. Yeah. I kind of hate it. I honestly do. I kind of hate it, but
it's like,
get off my lawn with that.
Get off my lawn.
Not a fan of that hair.
All right, so we were well past half an hour on Bryony.
You want to?
Is there? We go. Let's jump in. I don't know if I really want to see her.
I don't see any like. Okay, so there's like woke is over. Denim's Black History, blue-eyed supremacy. Are these people even right wing? I don't know what that is. The American Dream. She has no business talking about that as an Australian. What's beneath the veneer? And of course, there's a Trump reference because that's how it has to be.
Okay, well, let's see. What are these people even right wing? Like, what really? Ultimately, what's bothering her? And Sydney Sweeney is an easy flashpoint because she's higher up on the intersectional. So she's a target. She can be more of a target, let's say.
Yeah.
On the intersectional control, power and control ziggurat. So she's more of a target. You can start taking, if she was black, but equally attractive, Bryony might have a more difficulty with that. She might just walk away from that. But yeah, so Sydney Sweeney is definitely more of a because it's less intersectionally awkward to take shots at a white woman. Let's face it.
Yeah.
It's still much easier to take shots at white men, of course. In fact, it's not just easier, it's obligatory now. Honestly.
Oh yeah,
So,
for sure. Well, I think what Bryony also doesn't. The thing is though, with I think these people like Bryony Claire and all the people that we respond to often, they used to be the culture, or at least they believed that they were. They used to control the culture. They used to drive it. They used to point. They were the people behind. Like they would support all of the terrible movies and shows and music we've been getting for the past 10 years. They were the ones that decided like what was okay to play and what was okay to watch, or they would just make it themselves. And now there's pushback. People are like not supporting it. Films are like basically just crashing and burning in spectacular fashion all over the place, and they're losing control of the culture. And the corporations, the companies that make this stuff are responding. Some of them are responding to this. Like Disney has recently been saying, well, we have to figure out a way to like get those Gen Z men to watch our content. Apparently we've alienated somehow. We don't know how that happened. And of course they're scrambling to figure that out, because at the end of the day, as we in Gamergate have said, you hit them in the wallet and it doesn't matter. Like they can be as bigoted or whatever as they want to. They're just going to go broke. And I think that what the response from some companies to be like, okay, let's put pretty people in our commercials again. Let's change it. I saw a Gillette commercial the other day where it was just a man shaving in the mirror singing the theme song, and there was nothing else. And that was the ad. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. Like, where's the black guy stopping you from talking to that girl? Like, where's the toxic masculinity? Well, because it didn't work. They lost money. And so now they're trying to like stay afloat, and they're going back on stuff. And people like Bryony Claire, they hate that because it means that they no longer, or at least they feel as though they're losing control. I don't think that it's as bad for them as they think it is. I think there's a lot of wokeness in these corporations and everything else, but I think they're trying to scale it back because they don't want to lose money. Cracker Barrel, like I said yesterday on the news show, they changed their logo and they got so much flack for it that they changed it back. So they're like, okay, we're not going to do it. This is a good thing. This is a W. So I think Bryony Claire is trying to problematize this because she doesn't like the fact that the culture appears to be slipping away. So anyway, Allison, did you want to say? Oh, Allison stepped away.
Yeah, I just had to. I'm going to reduce the sound of the birds in the background for you guys.
I couldn't really hear it.
I don't want to trigger the autists. There's somebody who's probably having an autistic meltdown because of the sound of the birds.
Yeah.
No offense, I tease because I love. All right. Yes. Also, there was one other thing I wanted to say. Probably Bryony Claire does not consider black woman, no matter how attractive, a sexual threat.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise she wouldn't be responding to Sydney Sweeney, right?
No, she would. If this was an Asian woman, she would. And she'd be talking about fetishization of Oriental, because she finds Asian women sexually threatening, and she finds Sydney Sweeney sexually threatening. Even if she's a lesbian, there's still vanity there. I don't know. I think, is Bryony a lesbian? I think she is. Good Lord.
Bryony Claire, is she a lesbian?
Claire? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, she's queer, I think, which means an identity without an essence, which means
that doesn't mean
you can't pin me down. Men.
Yeah, but the sexual competition is not necessarily about being sexually attracted to men. It's about getting attention and getting
Yeah, I know.
validation. She probably doesn't regard Sydney Sweeney as a threat to her getting validation. She probably, well, she so regards Sydney Sweeney as a threat to her getting validation. She probably wouldn't regard a black woman getting attention as a threat to her validation. She would regard probably an Asian woman. See how this works in terms of intersectionality? It all is in relation to who threatens white women's sexual attention, like sexual monopoly. Okay, so it allows white women to attack other women. It allows white women to attack Asian women because those are threats. But they don't attack black women because they're not a threat. So it's in a lot of ways, intersectionality is like almost like it's a skin over top a female sexual hierarchy.
Sure.
All right, I'm just putting it out there. You guys can chew over that and see if you can find anything of worth in it.
All right, let's play
Byrony
more.
has a male husband.
Yeah, she does. I just remembered that. She mentioned her husband on another video. I don't know. They probably have an open marriage or something.
Or alternatively, she's his pony girl.
Yeah, maybe. He
straps a saddle on her.
Yeah.
Sorry, she's what?
She could be his mop. You know what a mop is?
Yeah. No.
Okay. A mop is a girl who pretends to be dating a gay man so that he appears to be engaged. It's like
that's like a beard. The name of that is a beard.
Yeah, it's like a beard.
Mop. Could be.
I've heard gay men call it a mop. Jokingly.
With feminists, it's a toss-up because
like you bring. They're like a prop. That's what it is. You bring them to the gay bar with you. I don't know. Like they're friends. Yeah. There's nothing going on. It's not because he's like hiding in the closet. It's I don't know. They just call like women who hang around gay men and go to bars with them. They call them mops. A lot of times the mops want to get it on with the gay men. They think they can like turn them out too. But anyway,
okay. So what I was going to say is that the thing with feminists is all of this independence is a performance, and it's a performance in order to extract resources from the system, from men in power. When they get home, and like a lot of them are married, like when they get home, many of them actually engage in a very submissive lifestyle. They're not actually like you're not seeing people who are naturally have a spine or actually are able to assert themselves in their own person. You're seeing women who think of all of this as a performance in order to get stuff. So it folds pretty quickly. A lot of these women, like they're into things like gore and extreme submission. And dark, that's what dark fantasy is. And I'm guessing that dark fantasy and feminist is almost, the Venn diagram between the two is almost a circle. So I'm saying that feminists are not what they appear to be. So she could be getting regular spankings from her husband. Who knows? And not like with a cat of nine tails. Let's keep going.
All right.
Are they watching?
Yep.
Are they buying it?
So are the stars of these adverts even right-wing? Like, why is there such a celebration happening for them? Gavin from The Samurai Turned Pretty, he liked a tweet which said, when you find out she's unvaxxed, not a feminist, loves the Lord, and aspires to be wife, mother, and a homemaker. And he's also very devoutly Christian. So people have tied all of this together. However, he hasn't said whether he supports Trump or not. But from our Womanosphere video, you may be remembering Paula Scanlon. She tweeted this. He's also being cancelled for being MAGA. So maybe he is, maybe he's not. We don't know.
Okay, all right.
So all of a sudden, like the qualifications for her hating him or being right wing, like even if he checks all the other boxes that she claims fit, now she's like, well, we don't know if he supports Trump or not. Like, what is this world? What is this logic? Why do you care so much? I know why. Sorry, go ahead.
Because it's moral. It's virtue signaling, and they are virtue signaling to the people who, well, the men who have the power over the money levers, basically. Like, she's basically a handmaiden to how to term it, a handmaiden to the system of stealing labor from other men to give to her.
Mhm.
And she basically worships the men who are capable of subjugating other men in this way, or being close to the system that does this, close to the levers of power. I'm throwing out a lot of stuff. I'm trying to explain this. It's sort of a difficult concept, but it's like there are two sides here. One side is the side of what gives money its value, which is the productivity of the individual people. And that's maintained by family. It's maintained by producing children. It's maintained by buying a house, creating a family, creating a community. This is what creates a situation where people, men and women, mostly men, are willing to exchange goods more and more and more. And as the velocity of good exchange increases, you need money to keep track of it. And now you have the ability for certain people to control that money, because they are the ones who are responsible for creating it somehow, if it's not based on precious metals, right? So they create the money, and now they can actually exploit and control the system. So the two groups of people, right? The real division is who has an investment in creating the value that makes money worth a damn, which is the ability to create a peaceful system where people want to trade and have surplus. And that is a stable system. That is a stable system with families and communities and everything else, right? The breeding colony, as I term it. And then there are the people who control the means by which the distribution of the breeding colony is kept track of. So you distribute goods within the breeding colony, and there needs to be a way to keep track of it, so that, like, some kind of system by which people know how much to buy, how much can be bought, and like by which people know how much labor people have put into the system, therefore how much labor they can get out of it. That's where money comes from. And then you got the people who control the money. And the two systems, one is dominant over the other. And that system of being able to print money means that they can print money for anything. So they have almost unlimited power at this point, because they can print money whenever they want. Basically, they can make winners and losers. They can fund Bryony's feminist projects, and she doesn't have to be part of a system where she needs to either maintain the social fabric or build positive wealth. Do you get what I'm saying? So she, in that system, in the one system, the breeding colony, you have to work. You either have to maintain the breeding colony, or you have to be building something productive. And on this side, you can just puke out some justifications for the people who control the money, why they are superior and should be able to leech off the labor of the people who are making it, right? And that's what she is. She's a mouthpiece for these justifications. She knows what side her bread is buttered on. This is why family has become far right. This is why women who want to be mothers and wives have become far right, because they're part of the system that sees the value in productivity and social cohesion and the necessity of these things for a productive system that requires money. She's part of the system of extortion. Control you guys because you're racist, because you're sexist, because you're homophobic, because you're trans. So you got to transphobic. So you got to give us money because you're all these awful things, and you owe us this stuff because you're all these awful things, so we can have this oversight over you. And so it's like there's the demarcation is between the people who identify with the productivity of the breeding colony and the people who identify with the moral, quote unquote, moral leverage used to extort from the breeding colony through money. I don't know if that made sense to
Yeah.
anyone.
No, I
but
understand. I
she is
understand.
she's the extortion camp.
She doesn't
So
make anything.
she doesn't make anything. All she makes is excuses for
Yeah.
powerful CEOs and politicians to collude to steal stuff from other people, from mostly men, but also working class women. That's what she is. She is
Mhm.
a mouthpiece for the system, justifying and farting out a cloud of justifications for this theft, for this extortion. And this is another thing that sort of clicked in my mind when I was listening to Disney, of all places, and they were talking about how they gave a seminar to their white employees about how their white privilege gave them more money. And I'm like, so this corporation who decides who gets paid what is blaming his white employees for their own decisions. What?
Yep.
Right? And this is just one instance of how they use this narrative to maintain the system. And I mean, all the commies and all of the socialists, they don't even realize that they are actually a part of the system that they supposedly despise. They are on the extortion because they say, oh, well, if you are disabled, but somehow it doesn't really seem like the disabled people still suffer even under, so even in Canada, like you're more able to get made than proper living assistance if you're disabled in Canada. Like it's insane. And all this money is going to migrants. So, but they're on the side of the extortion. They're on the side of justifying taking it's not money, it's productivity, it's people's labor. They're on the side of taking people's labor and applying it to, well, giving it to the government to distribute. And of course, who does the government end up distributing to? Corporations and welfare moms, because they and anything that creates single motherhood or single women, because they continue to vote for the extortion system. Okay. And everything that'll end up on the far right side will be anything to do with being productive, developing community, anything to do with productivity, labor, community, cohesion will always end up on the far right side. And everything to do with excusing why you get to extort productivity and labor from the breeding colony will end up on the left side. And I say this as a former liberal. I don't know what I am now. I'm politically orphaned. That was my beliefs and causes were eaten by the left because they are a machine that turns virtue into extortion. And anything like my thing was that people should be judged by their individual merit, right? Not by the color of their skin, their sexuality, their gender, even their sexual orientation, whatever. They should be judged by their actions and the consequences of those actions, insofar as what those consequences were and they decided them, that's how people should be judged. And they should be afforded the consequences of their actions. That was my liberal principle. Full stop. And it was eaten up and extortion was shit out. All right, let's
Sounds far right to me, Allison. But
I
anyway,
know, I'm
let's
far
move
right
on.
now.
Yeah, it's far right. And you know what? Just embrace it. Okay, I guess that's what I am now. It's like when they call you a fascist, you're okay, I guess so. Now what? Because it's all language and designed to control you. What you have to do is you have to own it and be like, okay, I guess that's what I am. Anyway, I'm going to move on with my life now. And your language, your shaming is not going to work anymore. But anyway, let's keep going.
WNBA fame, we also don't know exactly where she stands either. She's apparently followed very divisive people on the right on social media. People have accused her of being MAGA Barbie, and in response to this, she decided to share a photo where she's wearing a red hat which says "Hot Cowgirl Summer," which could be a nudge nudge wink wink joke because it's like,
fuck off.
one of you, but I'm not.
Look at her policing.
Yeah, this is just like in It's so like mean girl shit going on. Like she's not one of us anymore. She wore a red hat.
She's not a mouthpiece for the
How
system.
petty can you get? This is so petty.
She doesn't support government and corporate extortion of labor. How
says
dare?
She's hot. You can't do that and be blonde and white and blue-eyed. That's for the diverse women that are ugly. You have to celebrate them. You have to celebrate Gorlock the Destroyer, Devourer of Worlds, and say that Gorlock is a 10. That's the only way you can celebrate attractiveness. You're not allowed to do this. This is unfair. You're bad. Anyway.
Okay,
right.
I think we got a taste of this. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, let's move on. Okay, so what do you want to do next? The T app thing?
Yeah, sure. Let's cover whatever she has to say about the T app. I'm going to preface
like this isn't the men made a T app too.
Yes, they did. They did.
Is that what this is about?
No, this is about her making the men who probably wasn't necessarily men. Like this wasn't like a huge, massive, like 90s command lines flashing on the screen kind of hack. They just found a publicly accessible depository. It's not a hack. So we don't know if men did it or women, but she's saying women did it. And now that women's information is exposed, they're in danger, even though the T app was specifically designed to expose men, like to reveal intimate details of men.
Yeah, right? I mean, you're not worried that them.
Yeah, you're not worried that that's going to cause men to be raped and stalked? Of course not, because you don't acknowledge that that's a problem. Thanks to feminism, your feminism says no, it's men who use rape and domestic violence to uphold patriarchy. They wouldn't. This women wouldn't do though. Oh wait, they do. Well, when they do it, it's toxic masculinity. Remember that whole freaking excuse making exercise with thick bitches? It's toxic masculinity. It's actually them acting out patriarchy. So instead of actually getting services to men and not marginalizing when they're rape victims, the real way you fight the scourge of rape of men is by fighting patriarchy and giving money to feminists. Funny how that we always land back on that, huh?
Yep.
Because men are privileged by this system, so don't fight against it. I don't even know if they know that that's what they're doing. They're so freaking unself-aware. All right,
let's play some of this then, I guess. Let's do the intro.
The T-app was designed as a way for women to be able to warn each other of red flags of guys they may be dating or have dated in the past. It became #1 on the US Apple App Store.
I just discovered this app called T, and I need every girl to download it so that we can get more information and more data onto this app.
Review men, they upload a picture of him and they say, does anyone know him? Red flag, green flag, leave reviews, leave comments. And it's basically like a Yelp for men.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump ahead because we know what the T app is. But what's the problem? Also, women were using it to find out, do he fuck good though?
Yeah, and insult men who didn't put out as gay.
Yeah,
like to publicly shame men who didn't put out.
Yeah. Well, they were doxing them. It was a whole thing. I mean, all it is, it wasn't even like a new practice. Like women gossip and spill tea on other men all the time. Now they just have like an app for it, so they can do it anywhere, often anonymously, probably, right? So
since the data which contained people's selfies and identification, like their driver's licenses, which they had to upload in order to be able to use the app to begin with, that was on an open Firebase database. The team was created by Sean Cook.
What?
I don't believe that the information of the driver's license themselves were uploaded, just the pictures.
Yeah, maybe their names, but I think it was just the pictures. But it's funny too, though, because like, aren't women the ones that think that the anonymity on the internet should end and that everyone should have all their info out there? Because anonymous trolls, they like are always harassing women online, and that has to end. Don't women want that? Don't they want like everyone's data out there? Isn't that where that comes from? And yet when they do make an app that does that, they have a problem with it. She's acting like this shouldn't have happened and that women should be anonymous. So what are you really saying?
Okay.
All right.
He founded the company in 2022 after witnessing his own mother's, quote, terrifying experiences. Cook said they included unknowingly dating men with criminal records and being catfished, deceived by men using false identities. There's currently 2 class action lawsuits against the T-app by 2 of its users. Are We Dating the Same Guy is a Facebook group with many iterations all over the world.
Girls have found out their boyfriends are cheating on them, their husbands are cheating on them, serial daters. It's crazy.
And there's 100 comments. That's not good. Hey, boo, that's my baby daddy.
Well, I mean, the only thing that exposes is the fact that like women will all like circle around a very small percentage of dudes.
Yeah.
Do he fuck good though? That's all
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah.
That's why. Oh, that's my baby daddy. Well, yeah, because you all are like you're all circling the same dude.
Yep.
That doesn't sound like it's his fault. It sounds like it's your fault.
Exactly.
Anyway.
If you're thinking about posting, are we dating the same guy? The women will tell the man. You see that your boyfriend cheated?
Yeah, are we dating the same guy?
Well, Allison, your camera, something's up
just
with
a
your
sec.
camera. What's going on? Why did it stop?
Don't worry, I'll get it done. Just give me a sec.
I mean, I can still hear you, but your camera doesn't seem to be on.
Don't worry, it'll go back on.
All right.
There we go.
There it goes.
Should be good. Yep, there it goes. Sorry about that.
It's all right. Okay.
Okay, let's keep going. This is basically just a reprisal of what we talked about before, honestly.
So, okay. So in she basically explains that the T app, all the data got out. We already know that. This is, how old is this? 3 weeks ago. So this is probably when this happened about. She has a section called The History of Gossip and Whisper Networks. That's a woman thing.
She's a bit late to the party, I think.
The dating apps and police don't care about your safety. The good and the bad. The male rage. Do you want that part? Male rage?
Yeah, sure. Let's go for male rage.
Yeah,
men don't like being doxxed and lied about and slandered and probably also stalked by these women.
How dare they? How dare they be angry about that?
Yeah, how dare? How dare they be concerned about their safety and reputation?
Yeah.
Situation or lie on these. I don't think that stuff goes without risk. And one thing which deeply disappoints revenge-loving Scorpio me is women attacking each other when it turns out that their guy has been cheating on them. This is not where we turn on her. This is where we turn on him. This is where we have collective action, babes. When it comes to
collective action for something that's
so
not
she's saying they
illegal.
should be angry at the man for cheating. What if those women are under the delusion that they're in an exclusive relationship and the man is actually seeing other people? What if the man actually told them, I'm not settling down with anybody right now. I want to play the field because he has access to multiple women. He's just like rather be upfront. But those women insist that that's not actually happening and that's their man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that happens all the time.
Yeah, it does. People often get angry that there's no proof of abuse. Yes. Because if you're going to accuse, that's actually illegal, or at least it's the civil. Somebody can sue you if you allege they engage in a criminal action, right? Or actually, I think it's if they are convicted of something. But this is slanderous. People get angry that there's no proof of abuse. Proof, because Byron and Claire thinks a woman's word is proof alone, but not a man's word. Oh no, only women have divine truth.
Yep.
Oh, good Lord. And she's going to support complete erosion of due process for men. Ultimately, due process for everyone, because that's the way it goes. Because she believes that only women can be believed. Okay, let's keep going.
All right.
Of abuse. It's a really hard thing to do, as I've talked about this whole time. Like, how are you meant to prove all of that stuff when police don't even believe people when they come forward as well?
Bullshit. Police will like show up at a woman's house and kick the shit out of her husband, or at least take him to jail for the night if she says she feels threatened without any
they'll do it
evidence.
if he's abused.
All I'll say is police are more likely to side with the woman. like in bog standard by
100%.
100%.
Which is why men who are abused, it's a coin toss. It's worse than a coin toss whether or not they'll be arrested or their abuser. Like, good grief. But she's a mouthpiece for men are privileged by the system. Therefore, if you have failures in the system, it's your own fault. She's a mouthpiece for that.
Well, she wants the system to always work 100% of the time for her,
of course,
not for other people, not for men, basically. That's why she says, why should we have to prove anything? Well, I don't know. Because false accusations exist.
And you don't think that eventually corporations and the government are going to enjoy that? Like, once you completely disassemble the criminal justice system, and it doesn't even really apply to women at this point in time. They get so much sentencing discounts and whatever else. But once you disassemble it for men, who do you think is ultimately going to benefit from that? Huh? The very corporations and governments that you don't despise the government. Even you don't even seem the connection. Like, I was just listening to a commie. It was actually pretty hilarious. He was talking about how the banking crisis of 2008 was caused by deregulating markets. And then he described how the government stepped in and gave socialism for corporations. And then basically he's like, but we need more government because this was the regulations that created the crisis. And the crisis, it would have solved itself if the government let the corporations that engaged in those risky practices die and be a example to other corporations to avoid those risky practices. Instead, it stepped in and said, too big to fail. And this guy can't even see that the government is the major problem here. Right? If corporations do things that result in a loss of revenue sufficient that they no longer can operate, if it was pure capitalism, they would disappear and be replaced by corporations that didn't do that. By definition, the problem is that the government stepped in and prevented the natural death of corporations from happening. All right? And it's like they can't see it. As soon as you point out that the government is colluding with these corporations and constructing this gigantic economic fatberg at the top of everything, right? They're like, well, we need more government. To do what? To give more socialism to more corporations? Like, what the hell are you talking about? All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Wow.
It's basically just women gossiping about men and usually tearing them apart and mocking them, insulting their appearance.
Because people on the up are essentially just spreading defamation in a lot of cases, really due to the fact that they can remain anonymous and say whatever they want about any man that they want to.
I have to battle the T app. This is a disaster.
They all have broccoli hair, huh? Except this dude.
Huh?
Except this dude. He doesn't have broccoli hair. Probably because he's not.
Well, these guys I think they're a little older.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have to bring the men together, the powerful men. We got to shut this thing down. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, Jack, if you have nothing to hide, it's no big deal. You can just, and you don't even have to prove you went on a date with this person. You can just go. You can just go and comment. You can just go and comment. A red flag, red flag.
So every single girl's name, face, and address just got leaked on the T app.
Yes!
I mean, dude, thank
God. This is not rage.
Because this app was supposed to be.
Huh?
This is not. I was sold that this was male rage. This is male compersion, like being no, it's not compersion. Schadenfreude. This is male Schadenfreude. You oversell this, Baron. I was looking for some rage. This
well,
is
she
like
needs it to be rage so that women that watch will
ironic
be
amusement.
afraid. She needs them to be afraid.
This is mild ironic amusement. What the hell, Baron? Come on.
To help women, and they were just abusing it and using it just to hate on men and try and make them look bad.
So it says I have 27 red flags. I don't agree with that.
Okay, we got to talk about how some men have reacted.
But like, have you
We
seen
gotta
the ick
talk
list,
about
my friend? If you've seen the ick list, then you would know that you having 27 red flags is actually a blessing, because you probably would qualify for hundreds. No, I'm
Yeah.
not saying it as an insult. I'm saying the ick list is ridiculous.
I don't know.
All men are on the ick list for like countless things, because we're all, human and we have imperfections.
Yes. Oh man, yes. That ick list is like the inversion of the red flags. Like it's like literally, if you avoid every ick on the ick list, guys, you probably have tons of red flags. What women would consider red flags, because basically you don't have a normal human emotional system that responds to things like cuteness and rain, like, and falling over. Like, you would have to be like a stone cold psycho to not get through the ick list and not have a single ick.
Yeah.
And that means you'd have tons of red flags because you're a stone cold psycho. As I don't know, women need to sort this shit out because their mating strategy is profoundly psychotic. It is itself a mental illness. Okay,
Yes.
let's hear why we have to talk about this, Bryony.
Mm-hmm.
Reacted to this now.
Look at this mild amusement.
Big salty big boy. The issue is that people, women especially, won't see this as an issue until the male version of the app is created. I deserve to know my date's STD history, body count, etc.
Box score.
Salty big boy.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That's
why not?
crazy.
Call it
Joe,
the Vag Facts.
Vag facts.
Show me the Vag Facts report.
And again, these guys just look mildly amused.
That is funny. The Vag Facts.
Oh, good lord.
That's facts. Vag Facts. Anyway.
Full facts.
I think Homath came up with something for this too. It was pretty funny because I think I replied to a comment. He was like, we need like to come up with a good name for the male version. I can't remember. Maybe she got a screenshot of it.
You could say that there's been some anger and things have been getting.
You're overstating it.
I have had.
They're not scary.
That's anger when. Okay.
If you're on the app, lady, you're married. What are you worried about getting divorced? It's not freaking scary. Yeah, this is what they do. It's like they get caught doing something stupid, selfish, criminal, cruel, and monstrous, and then they just are like, how do I work this into me being the victim?
I
So
remember
can get out of
now. Thank you,
accountability.
Gabriel. He reminded me. Homath's suggestion was Hordash, like DoorDash.
Good lord.
Hordash. That's good.
Oh,
Anyway,
it's
go
funny
ahead.
because they're so fucking pompous. But like, all right, this is probably the perfect time to actually go back to this and do like, because of the whole thing that happened at that dark fantasy or dark romance. Like, again, the dark romance people take a sexual assault, multiple sexual assaults of men, and then they just sort of, or the Vic bitches, they sort of walk it to women are victims of that because they were unfairly targeted. See, they were unfairly targeted. You see, men are never targeted for engaging in behavior that actually has nothing to do with sexual assault. Like, they're never targeted because they find particular women attractive. They're never targeted because they like to have attractive women in their games. They're never targeted for their black humor that includes grape. They're never targeted for all of this stuff. Not at all. All of this stuff that actually has nothing to do, has never actually been proven to have anything to do with rape, right? Those men get a free pass. But women, well, they just engaged in a few group sexual assaults of men. They're just a bit of harass. I mean, why would you target them for that? They're being singled out because they're being targeted for actually engaging in sexual assault.
Like it's unbelievable that they made the fic bitches made women, a group of women who engaged in a convention that engaged in multiple sexual assaults against men. They made those women victims of being accused and being, getting any shade thrown at them for their behavior and for the behavior they facilitated or didn't prevent happening at their event. They made women the victims of legitimate accusations of sexual assault. And now she's making women victims of being part of an app that doxed, harassed, slandered, probably encouraged some women to stalk men. Right? That women are victims of that, of their information being leaked. So far, there has been no confirmation of any woman getting harmed. I mean, I know there's some rumors going around TikTok for what they're worth, but if any woman had gotten harmed, it would be all over the media. That we would never hear the end of it. So by the complete silence, we can assume nothing has actually happened, and all they're doing is they're like a soccer player who gets brushed by the foot of another soccer player, and he throws himself on the ground and is like, my whole body, I'm having a full body aneurysm because I've been found out for being a bunch of lying witches. All right.
Yep. Okay.
Had the misfortune of having to go through a whole bunch of Reddit, and wow, the violent vitriol is actually terrifying to me. I was thinking about it, and the funniest
show me receipts. Don't just say that Reddit. You had screenshots of everything else. I mean, I don't go on Reddit, but it's mostly because of people like you. So
the violent
I want to know what the
vitriol,
other side of this is.
As women engage in doxing, slander, harassment, because there was also harassment of men. Like there was a dude who was on that app because he didn't put out. Lady?
Yeah, he worked at a Waffle House or something.
No, he worked in an Olive Garden, and he wasn't interested.
Olive Garden, that's right, Olive Garden.
Wanted to keep it professional, and these women were gossiping about behind his back.
Everybody apparently was fucking everybody at the Olive Garden.
Except for him.
And he didn't want to be a part of it.
You.
And so they were like, he must be gay, and they were like talking shit about him on the T app.
Exactly. Like what the hell?
He was being based.
Yeah, he was keeping it clean. So yes, there's a lot of crap going on that app. And look at that slight grin there, Byrony. This is the look of a liar.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, just look at this. You know, when something bothers me, when I feel a genuine injustice, I don't look like that. You guys have seen me. Like, remember freaking Monday? I lost my ever living shit. I was so angry. I don't think. Oh man, like what? Could you guys, when you're talking about something that's so horrible and terrifying, could you just not have that gigantic fucking shit-eating grin on your face? I mean, it's not gigantic right now, but I can see it forming. Let's keep going.
All right, let's keep going.
Thing to me is like, what comes from misogynistic men so often is like, just pick better men. And it's like, well, these whisper networks are used as a way to like be able to weed out bad ones. So then you do.
No, they're not.
Matt Walsh is married with many kids. Not a bad guy, I guess. At least not according to his wife. Probably doesn't care that you approve. I don't know who this other guy is, but he's probably doing just fine.
Yeah, he's probably doing fine.
Yeah.
Pick better men. No, yes.
Be better women. How about that?
Be better women. And the T-op was not about picking better men. Okay? If it was about picking better men, the dude who kept it clean in the Olive Garden would have had green flags. And here his coworkers, his female coworkers, would like, I found it extremely refreshing to work with a man who kept it all professional and treated us with respect as fellow colleagues. And I think this man would be a good choice for someone as a boyfriend because he keeps it in his pants. He demonstrates appropriateness in terms of his behavior. He demonstrates impulse control. He demonstrates the ability to treat a situation with the respect it deserves. I think this man is husband material. That's what would have been on the T app, Byrony. But what actually was on the T app was, is he gay? This guy's a fag. He didn't put out. What a fag. Like, are you fucking kidding me? This had nothing to do with picking the good men. It was all about picking the bad men and harassing men who didn't put out and harassing men, no doubt, for other things and slandering men. Does he fuck good? It's just, ugh.
Yeah.
Well, this is what happens when women aren't held to any account. At least for some women. Like, I think there still is an amount of women who just want to get on with their lives.
Yeah. Okay, should we play some more of this?
Sure.
And they don't like that either, right? Earlier this year, Nico D'Ambrosio filed a lawsuit.
No, Byron, no accountability there. They don't like it because that wasn't what it was. Like I just said.
Yeah.
Okay.
For an Are We Dating the Same Guy group, which he said invaded his privacy and was defamation, claiming what was said about him was harming his profession. Both claims were dismissed. You remember the T-app leak that I talked about before? Not only
What?
So they were dismissed.
So he was dismissed. So I guess in her mind that means, oh well, it didn't happen because they threw it out. But if it might have happened, and maybe they just didn't give a shit about this guy's claim, and they threw it out anyway, which I believe is more likely the case.
Yeah.
So
these kinds of lawsuits are incredibly difficult to prove. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah.
only were the images circulated widely, not only were people's locations shared, but a website was created so that what could guys do other than be a classic Zuckerberg and go all the way back to the start of Facebook and compare the girls' selfies that they'd uploaded in order to be able to use the T app.
Which was hilarious because...
Very hilarious because if I remember correctly, a can of soda won.
No, it was a potted plant. I think in a dog.
There was a pot. No, but it kept moving around. But there's a dog.
It kept moving around, but
can of soda.
The first,
some creatine or something. And there was a couple of dudes.
Yeah. There was like, I'm sorry, Byrony. If you actually looked at it, the first page was basically just random shots of furniture, a can of Coke, a plant, a dog, and some dudes. So apparently those are the top pick, and they were the top pick.
I think it was justice. I know she's mad, but I think it's absolutely justice what happened.
Oh yeah.
And as far as I know, nobody had like cops at their house or stalkers show up. No one was actually in danger. They just shared the pictures, and it basically spoke. The joke told itself. They just let it lay. So
yeah. This is bizarre. I thought that there was only one Commodore logo on one side of this, but now there seems to be two. Am I blind? I don't know. But is this like a Mandela effect? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, creepy.
All right. Do you want to do some more of this, or do you want to do something else?
Nah, I think Byrony. We're just gonna watch Byrony lie through her teeth.
Yeah.
Give off micro grins as she's doing so.
Okay, so like it's 2:37. Where I gotta leave at 3. So like 20 minutes. But I wanted to. There was something that I've been obsessing about lately. I don't know if it's okay if we do like a weird kind of theme change.
Sure.
But okay, so like let me just give you the backstory of this. So there's this video that went viral recently of a Scottish girl, about 14 years old. Some people say 12. I think she's 14. And she is being filmed by one of the migrants that are in Scotland. And she was basically obviously scared, and she brandishes a knife and an axe. Okay, like she has an axe. I'm like, whoa! I thought it was cool. I actually thought it was cool because I know that like there's a migrant crisis in Britain, and that all of the Brits are talking about it because it makes sense. It's like an immediate, concern for them. And I shared the post of the video because I actually thought, despite the fact that I wouldn't wish this situation on anybody, especially a child, which she was, I thought it was admirable that she was sticking up for herself and that she brandished some weapons. Now, I mean, later on, she got arrested or something or got in trouble with the law because she was brandishing weapons, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But that's not really the thing that I found interesting. What was interesting was that the conversation about this girl became all about how men weren't stepping in to save her. They were all like, where are the real men? This like immediately came out. And I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it was absolutely insane to me. And I wanted to share it because my post went pretty freaking viral when I reposted a guy's comic strip. And let me show you guys, because I don't know if this is okay, Alice. If you'd rather do something else,
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
No, it's
I don't know if
fine.
this
Let's
is
do it.
like
I'm
a poop
looking
you don't want
back
to
to
touch
see
or
if
what.
I'm actually looking back to see if my mug is actually. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so this is a comic strip by SK Cartoon, who normally makes cartoons that I actually like, but here he says, and look, I get that these people are blue pilled for the most part, so I'm not like angry about it, but I think it's kind of funny. So he pins this comic strip with this girl with the Scottish flag on her shirt, so we know where she's from, and it says, "Why aren't there any men helping us?" And there's all these like hands. Britain has no men. We're on our own, and she's got her knife and her axe. And of course, it's in response to this. This is the video, right? And I thought it was wild that he shared that and said, where are the men in the UK to defend their girls? And Wallace here, who's also one of ours, he says, trying not to go to prison or have our lives destroyed by the media over slanderous accusations of bigotry. I do not know what this meme is trying to achieve, but by the other comments, it's not in touch with male sentiment. And Gigantor, who is actually Goodfella, says they're in prison because the women of the country keep voting for policies that put men in prison for speaking and staring and stuff. So like really obvious answers. And I reposted this and I said, wow, that went to blame men really fucking quick. Because like this whole situation in Europe, in the UK, is women's voting patterns. Period.
Yes. Period.
It's women's suicidal empathy that has put this girl in this situation. That's it. Like it's that's what it is. That's what it is. And no one wanted to hear that. I'm not sharing it with you guys. I'm sorry. Nobody wanted to hear.
You were ranting, so it was good.
That's okay. This is the comic strip. I'm sorry. I don't know if you guys saw it, but this SK Cartoon, and here's like this is my post. And I basically just reposted the guy, and I like his cartoons like normally, but I thought this was like ridiculous. And look, I get it. He's a blue pill guy. He still has this chivalric attitude, and I'm sorry, but we just don't live in that world anymore. We don't live in that world. And I even said at one point, I think some people had some absolutely brain dead takes about this because they took a situation that women created. Of course, the government wanted it. But that doesn't mean anything. Even if the government's all men, it doesn't mean anything because they were doing what the women mostly voted for. There were probably liberal men that voted for it too, but that's irrelevant. If the women stood by the men, and these guys in the UK, they were shouting about this for years, and they were called racist bigots for it. So now it's here. Now they're dealing with it. Now it's at their doorstep. And there was a 14-year-old girl. I don't know if you guys saw the video. I can go back to the original post. Wait, hold on. It's right here. Where she had to brandish an axe to protect herself. And I thought it was cool at the time because like, yeah, here's the, I don't know if you guys see this, but there she is. And here she pulls the axe out. It comes out of nowhere too. And of course the migrant guy backs away, but he actually uses this footage to get her in trouble with the police by filming it. And
Ridiculous.
I know it is ridiculous, obviously, but like when then people come forward and they start blaming men for not teleporting to the scene and getting in the way, like what are you asking? Like, do you think that the migrant, and I even said this, do you think that the migrant would do this if there were men around, or do you think he was waiting until she was vulnerable to do it? Like, I mean, and if that is the case, that this girl was in a vulnerable position, why is that? What is the climate that you have created that men don't want to be around be around women, and in particular children? Why is that? And then you get mad when the migrants, who don't give a fuck about your like cultural norms, do whatever the fuck they want, and then you're like, oh well, where are the men at? Well, you drove them away. You put them in chains. You censored them. You sent cops to their door because they made a post on Twitter. I remember Goodfella getting in trouble with the police because he posted something on X. Like, that's what you have done. So when these girls are in actual danger from actual predators, you're gonna have to like own up to that to some degree. So I wanted to share this because this is, and oh, here's another thing. Here's British women tearing down the English flag. When I tell them that women are the reason they are in this mess, they cannot hear that. It drives them crazy.
Yep. Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, you just stopped suddenly. Are you done?
I did, because I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, no, I was just agreeing. Like,
yeah,
and they can't hear it because it actually, I hate to say it, but we're like mutants with gills that can breathe underwater. We can actually blame women and not be like, oh my God, no, wait, no, we got to find a man. No, I just blame women. I can do it. You guys, other people just can't. It's because I can breathe underwater. It's like the equivalent because I'm a mutant.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason,
people have tried to tell me, they're like, well, the men with a spine should step up. Apparently not you. And I'm like, well, I can't teleport. I'm in America.
Why are there white
and I have
men?
spoken, and like, look, and I said, plenty of your men have spoken out about it. What did you do to them? Like, when they say this is like, that's the thing, like your men, the men of your country are speaking out, and you are basically saying, shut up, we prefer the foreign men. And when the foreign men come in and they start like being what they are, then you start saying, oh, well, this is a man problem, obviously.
Well, it's not foreign men being what they are, because most of them are just working, right? Let's be honest. This is a minority. It's a larger minority than the native population, but the real problem is that intersectionality dictates that they don't have the same oversight. Right? It's creating a different set of due process, not just for women, but for supposedly marginalized groups like minorities. So they don't have the same oversight. That's one thing, and that is 100% women pushing intersectionality to replace the idea that people be judged by their actions. Right?
Yeah.
The other thing is that not only are liberal women protecting this process because they have become mouthpieces for the powerful interests who don't care. Like, they don't give a crap about people, working class or middle class people suffering because they're getting robbed or they're getting raped. And like a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you know this, Brian, there was a 60-year-old man who was raped in public in the UK. Yeah, and nobody's talking about that anymore.
No, I know about that. Yeah, no, of course not.
The men and women, like native men, they don't care. All they care about is their bottom line, GDP, labor, and etc. So we have liberal women caping for big government, big corporation, right? And creating the fart cloud around their activities, exploiting the little guy. And then we also have
generations, and this is on all of us, right? We have generations of feminism targeting men, Western men, telling them that they're not wanted, telling them that the future is female, marginalizing them and discriminating against them in education and both primary and secondary education, discriminating against them in jobs, right? So we have generations of people who have indulged, I want to use the word gynocentrism. They've indulged putting girls first, ladies first. They've indulged it for 2 generations at the expense of men, which has led to an epidemic of unemployment and quiet quitting and malaise among Western men. And why would they? Because feminism has also targeted the family. It's also targeted women wanting to be wives and mothers in order to incentivize blue collar and middle class work, right? So we've targeted all that. We've taken away men's incentives. We've taken away the recognition of men as a valuable asset to society. And we've overtly discriminated against them for generations because everybody wanted to put their goodies on a pedestal, right? We all wanted to shovel all of these so-called resources into our girls because girls matter and they always matter more. You know what boy means? It means servant. Yeah, people don't know that. Girl actually originally meant gender neutral child. Boy meant servant. And it evolved to actually mean a male child because that's what they are. That's what we see them as. I'm going to do it. And this all came to a head in the UK because generations of UK parents taught this. They inflicted it on their sons, and they're inflicting it again with this adolescence crap. They taught their sons self-hatred. They taught their sons that they're unfairly privileged by the system. And they voted in policies that actively discriminated against their sons, leading to a population of completely demotivated and dispossessed young men. But here's the big kicker, guys. You 100%, you 150%, you 200% need men's labor to run society. You can't get anywhere without it. So while you created a situation where you completely disenfranchised your native group, your native sons, and made it so that for whatever reason, you are against them doing work, you disenfranchise them, you cut them off from their jobs that they would normally have, you still need those jobs done, and girls aren't going to do them. So you import foreign labor. So every person, even the ones with the King's flag and the Union Jack and whatever else, every single one of you have constructed this problem. You can blame the elites, you can blame the immigrants, but you have constructed it. You were the ones who supported these policies. You did it. You UK parents did this. You constructed this problem. You made it possible or necessary to import all of these immigrants because you fucking abused your boys into a state of complete impotence. That's your fault. You can blame the elites all they want, but they're just exploiting something you did to your sons. That's all they're doing now. You did this. All of you marching against the immigration, you did this. You constructed this problem. You take responsibility for it. And you did it because you wanted to privilege your girls over your sons, and you bought into a narrative that was justice. Well, now you're reaping the fucking rewards. Reap the whirlwind, UK. You deserve it. But here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. Void Cat has come to try to soothe me because I got really pissed again. That's the other thing. But this is what's happened. And you're importing men who actually have a society that values them. They're willing to work because they got families home that need them and will say that they need them. And they got women who are interested in marrying them if they make money. That's what you're really importing. You're importing men who feel valued because you made your sons valueless. And then you complain and you make awful nonsense like adolescence, which just blames them more for your behavior towards your sons. You gave them nothing. You took away books. You took away TV. You took away movies. You took away games. You took away comics. And then you were surprised that the only thing left to boys is Andrew Tate videos. This is your problem, people of the UK. And again, of course, the flashpoint is going to be there. I'm going to give you an anecdote. I was just like, when I was going through this encapsulates this. This is an anecdote, but everything I've talked about is more systemic. When I was going through the UK airport, I was in a elevator with a family from the UK. Mother, father, daughter, son. Classic, perfect arrangement, right? The daughter was throwing a fit because she wanted the son's luggage for whatever reason. Maybe she preferred the pattern on the son's luggage, or maybe it was lighter or something. She wanted to pull the son's luggage, and she was just throwing an absolute livid fit over it. And instead of telling the little shit to shove it, the UK mom said, oh, little Timmy, give up your luggage. Give it up for your sister. They passed the buck onto their son because the son is the servant, right? That encapsulates exactly why there is a whole bunch of, you say, fighting age men, working age men flooding into your country because you took a big fucking dump on your sons. Okay. Now I've made sure that YouTube will not distribute this anywhere.
Yeah, well, that's all right. So anyway, that was it. We got like 5 minutes, so I thought I would share that. It went mega viral, and Andrew Wilson even screenshotted it and shared it himself, agreeing with it.
With what you said?
With what I said, yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, it was all right.
I think I took that a little deeper, though. And everybody who embraces this bullshit narrative deserves this crap. You know that. You deserve this. You've laid the foundation. You can blame the elites. You can blame the Jews. You can blame the migrants, but it's you. It's all of us. Buying into these crappy narratives, destroying our own social fabric, all because we want to privilege our daughters over our sons. That's the only reason.
Yep.
Because we don't give a shit about our sons. Okay. I got fired up. I guess that's
yeah,
okay.
I see that.
All right then. Let me do a poke on the voles and see if we got anything in the shoots. I know that men did another app. I think it was a Teabag or something.
No, it's not that. I don't remember, but there is another app for men. I just don't remember what it's called. It has the word tea in it. Teabag was pretty good though, but that's not what it is.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's we got a super chow.
Tea on her is what it is. We got another super chow?
Yeah.
I don't see it.
It's in the horizontal.
Is that a super chat then?
Yeah, super chat. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, you said super chow. See.
Yeah.
Okay. Albatross. I think it's. Let me see if it's in here. Oh yeah, here it is. $2. Thank you, Albatross. Women are begging to be rescued by men they hate. Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, they create the problem and they want men to clean up the mess. And and the thing is, like, somebody tried to shame me for it, But and I said, men aren't. We're not responding to shame anymore. Like, and I think it was true. Like, basically, the overall sentiment from my post that went viral was all the men saying, "Well, you told us that you prefer the bear," like there was stuff like that, and they were like, "Look," and I have nothing but sympathy for this 14-year-old girl and her situation, but I'm not going to let men get slandered for that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to let it happen because, like that girl, we don't know the conditions of that or the context of that situation. I can speak to the broader problem, like that is a whatever you want to call it, cultural clash, illegal, legal, mass migration. Not everyone's going to be compatible. It's probably going to be a problem, period. But like, who did that? Who was it that was like, refugees welcome? Who was it that was like, you're a bigot if you're against that? Who was it that was like, Daniel Penny steps in to rescue, people on a train and goes to jail? Who was it that was okay with that? Who supported that? And it was mostly liberal women. It was mostly that. And it was mostly liberal women that went with this. You could tell me, oh, well, the governments are like ready to do this stuff. So what? They can't do shit if they don't get voted in. But if those guys are appealing to female, like, values or whatever, feminine virtues like empathy and looking good, because most of this has to do with like how well you look compared to your friends. Look at me. I care about people more than everybody. I voted for all of these policies that basically like destroyed my country because I care that much. My heart is so big, guys. And that's what they did. And I'm just saying, like, you did this. And I can't, I'm just going to call it out. And if you say that I'm the bad guy because I don't teleport to Scotland to get in the way of like a migrant and a 14-year-old girl, then that's ridiculous. Like, I'm telling you that there have been plenty of people, men mostly, speaking out about this for years and years and years, and you ignored them. And now that there's a girl in trouble, you're like, where are all the men? Well, they're fucking done. They don't, I mean, it doesn't mean they don't care. They're probably still trying to do stuff. They're probably still trying to make change, but you're shitting on them because, like, what you voted for this shit. You voted for this. Like, you did this.
And the women before this generation of women that voted for it raised their daughters to think that society was something horrible that oppressed them.
Yes.
So the idea of sacrificing society for the vulnerable, like, you basically supercharged it. All of you old boomer feminists, I guess Gen X feminists.
Boomer and Gen X feminists, yeah.
You made women who had absolutely no sense of responsibility to the societies that they're a part of. You destroyed the social fabric with that crappy narrative. Oh, men oppress women. Society is an effect of men's criminal actions against women. Herpaderp. What do you think's going to happen? Nobody's going to value it. Nobody's going to value our culture. Nobody's going to value our systems, or not our government systems, which no one should value, but the way that we do. Nobody's going to value the way that we do in the West if you tell a generation of girls, generations of girls, that the way we do in the West is horrible colonial patriarchal oppression. Why would they value it? They would think that they're sacrificing something bad for something good, which is what they do. They do think that.
Yeah.
And so, bye-bye. We fucked ourselves, and the only way to unfuck ourselves is to start from first principles. Start a community where these values hold no sway and see what you can build. But that's the only place you can start. And I mean, people are like, well, you need to appeal to women. No, I don't. I do not need to appeal to women. I need to maybe appeal to those women who understand what I'm saying and are ready to get out of their heads and start seeing themselves in service to the world, their communities, their families, their men, then seeing everything in terms of service to themselves. I do not care about the women who cannot wrap their minds around that, and I am not going to appeal to them. They can fuck off and continue to destroy their own society.
All right, I got a Rumble rant from NovaFan21 who gives us $1 and says, I would play real money to see what white knight simps try to fail to protect women from their own actions. Soy boy versus migrant. Let's go. Thank you, NovaFan. Appreciate that. I don't want anything bad to happen, but I mean, like there
Why
are going to
should
be
this
men
be
who will
played
fall
out
for the
between men?
shaming, and there will be those that don't. And the truth is that most men are not going to. They're probably going to do the right thing, but they're not going to respond to shame anymore. So
Why should this be played out between men?
yeah, well, that's how it always ends up, right?
Yeah, like why should this be played out between migrant men and Western men? This should be played out between Western women and women from other cultures. They should just go and have a slap fight somewhere and fix this shit. Okay, because actually this doesn't even need to be some kind of Thunderdome situation, although that would be amusing. This just needs to be a situation where women in the West get their heads out of their asses in a big way. But like I said, I'm trying to find the mutants. Like I'm trying to find the mutants that are able to see past the identities that are given to them, that they get from the institutions, who are going to arrange them in such a way to can maintain their power and justifications for why they are deserving of our labor while giving us nothing in return. Okay. You have to go.
Yeah, I do.
All right. So I will just want to remind everyone, if you want to send us a tip, you can do so at feedthebadger.com/justthetip. You can also send a message that way if you would like. You get a little more room to elaborate upon your fascinating thoughts. And we get the full benefit of whatever funds you send. So it's a win-win, but not particularly for YouTube, which is, I'm sure, one of the reasons why YouTube doesn't really give us much play. Although I see that a lot of people now watch us on X instead, which is interesting. Yeah. So thank you, all you X people. I'm so glad that Elon purchased X. So very glad.
It is really good. Yeah.
Maybe one day he will be truly red pilled.
It's definitely
He'll take the gender pill, and not the one that turns you into a woman. Okay. All right. So I think there was a previous Super Chow. Did you want to do that one or?
Oh, the older one? I could.
Yeah.
The one good man gives us $5 and says, have you seen the Freedom Tune sketch where the Dems have a focus group and think it's the messaging about the ball-kicking machine? Makes sense if you see it, I promise. Yeah, I don't think that person's watching right now, but that's an old one. I did see it though. Yeah.
Yes, we saw it, and it is on point. It is 100% on point. The problem isn't the migrants. The problem isn't the Jews. The problem isn't all of this other stuff. The problem is the ball kicking machine, UK. You got to stop putting your boys on the ball kicking machine. And
all right.
Yeah. Just do that. Just stop. See if things improve. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Brian. Take it away.
All right.
Oh, or should I do the meetup stuff?
No, we look, go to the meetup. It's in 2 weeks. And try to be there.
All right.
Calgary, Alberta, September 13th. Go to the website. You'll see the details there. feedthebadger.com/events. Okay. So thanks guys for coming on the show. If you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think about what we talked about on the show today. And if you're not following me on Badger Arcade, you should. That's at Badger Arcade on X. Please share the video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of Maintaining Frame, and we'll talk to you guys in the next.
Men's rights activists are machines, dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.